Oh, they have changed the going live on Facebook thing here. I have to figure it out now. Hey, Sam.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I had a little technical problem in the apartment.
Well, they've changed how it goes live on Facebook, so I'm just trying to figure that out.
Oh, thank you.
Wait, oh, maybe I can. Philly for there. Okay, much better. Philly for change. Okay. Oh, I cannot type today.
Yeah, everything was in slow motion at my house, except for my kid.
Yeah. And more. Always and more.
Yes.
Okay, share to our group, Philly for change, go live. Hopefully that will work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good. I'm gonna have some water.
Well, I got an error, so that didn't work.
Is your attendance gradually ticking up?
I think so. You know, there is also a televised.
You want to wait 5 minutes or so?
Yeah,
to give people a chance to join.
People usually,
I don't know.
But in right after 7.
We're not competing with Cinco de Mayo.
I mean, I think we're definitely competing with something.
Yeah, well, yeah. In Philly, we are dealing with the DA's debate.
Okay. We got live on Facebook.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Apparently, Philly for Change also has an event tonight.
All right. All right. We're live on Facebook, Sam.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. We can probably let some people get in before we start things officially. Anyways, I got 7:02, and I feel like we know today that we are facing, and it's not a bad thing. We're facing some competition from the DA debate. So here in Philly, the DA debate is a big deal. They we didn't know when we scheduled our meet. Well, we always have our meeting on the first Wednesday. So just a regular conflict. Um, Probably going to have a more laid back meeting tonight, more discussion. And we're excited about the first time in a meeting announcing our endorsements as well too. It's a good lineup of endorsees. Let's see, Krasner's the band. Everybody is telling me, everybody's emailing me at 7:02 to tell me that
they're watching the debate.
Yes.
Well, we do have at least a few people watching on Facebook Live, so
that's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you want to announce our endorsed candidates, Sam? And I know some of them are on the line here. Yes. So maybe they want to plead for assistance from.
Yes. Well, yeah, and it's, and, you know, one thing I wanted to say is, of course, we're still in a COVID situation, so it's a funny election. We've never had a judicial and DA election during the time of COVID. So, you know, our good candidates are dealing with problems that, you know, frankly, are new. So not only are we happy to endorse these folks, but we're happy to ask that folks make an extra effort to get out the vote for them. But anyway, welcome to May Philly for Change Meetup, and I'm going to start Meetup with our endorsees. These are the folks who received 60% of the vote of our membership. For Pennsylvania Supreme Court, Maria McLaughlin. For Pennsylvania, online. For PA Superior Court, Tamika Lane. For PA Commonwealth Court, Lori Dumas. For Pennsylvania Court of Common Pleas, Wendy Barish, Chris Hall, Michelle Hangley, Nick Kamau, Craig Levin, and Betsy Wall. That's a nice group. For municipal court, we have Michael Lambert, George Twardy, and Greg Yordy-Gurdy. For district attorney, Larry Krasner. City controller, Rebecca Reinhardt. And we were thinking about, and so that's it. And we asked everybody to not only vote yourself for these folks, but, you know, this is these are COVID times still. Please get help make sure that your friends and family can also get their votes in and to vote for these folks. Yeah, I mean, we can certainly pause there, and we're really pleased to have these folks endorsed by Philly for Change. Congratulations, all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Mary.
And I think, Sam, I think we'd like to invite, I know we have a few of them on the line right now, and we'd like to invite each of them if they want to ask for volunteers or whatever it is you all need help with. Please let us know. Our members are here to help you in any way we can. And I will say this, I know that you all cannot ask for donations, so I will do it on your behalf. Every one of them would love your financial support in addition to whatever support they're going to ask you for otherwise. But I'm certain that if you go to their websites, you can click on that donate button and make a donation for them. Money is what makes the world go round in politics, and I know that they would all be very grateful for your financial support. And then I will let them each ask you what other kind of support they need. And maybe we start with the top of the ticket with Judge McLaughlin.
Well, thank you so much, Beth and Sam and Representative Isaacson, because as a lifelong Philadelphian, you know, I'm going to be 55 years old this month, and Philadelphia has been my only address, except for going to school. It has been my only address, and I love that. And I'm proud of that. So that's why your endorsement means the world to me, in addition to your activism and how you really get folks elected and engaged. And so I'm honored and humbled to be the Democratic nominee already. Of course, I still want those votes on May 18th. But boy, I'm going to be torturing you come May 19th because I have a battle on my hands. We all do. And as we know in Philadelphia too, folks don't stay as engaged after the exciting district attorney's race. But I think more than ever, we know the importance of these judicial seats, especially the Supreme Court, who saved our votes. So thank you so much for your endorsement and support. I am eternally grateful, and I want those votes, but boy, I need you May 19th. So thank you.
Thank you. Shall we just move on? Oh, and what is your website again?
My website is judgemclaughlin.com, and I do have my introduction video. So if you'd share it with everybody, I think that helps too. Look, every little bit that you do helps because, as you said, this COVID campaigning is something that's very new to all of us. So, I have been traveling now a bit, meeting in small groups, but still Zooming. So I'm working just as hard as I can despite not having a primary. So I want you to know you have a worker at the top of your ticket. I am not going to be outworked. I can tell you that. So I'm going to Zoom off, but thank you for having me.
Well,
Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Who do we have up next?
I think we'll just move right down the ticket to Judge Dumas.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have your seal of approval, your endorsement, your support. Thank you so much. Because as Judge McLaughlin said, this is not an easy task. Running citywide as a candidate for Common Pleas 20 years ago was one thing, but this is a whole different animal. And so we cannot do it without you, your continued support, whatever that looks like. And for me too, if you could just share, some of you have been liking my stuff, sharing my stuff that you're seeing on social media, but we have some videos floating out there too. Please just shoot them out. We're trying to use social media to get across the state as best that we can, because COVID has impacted this election in a lot of ways. And we don't take for granted that when we do get donations from people, and it is a sacrifice, right? Because we all feel the impacts of COVID, and so any way that we can do things and it doesn't cost anything, that's better. That's the best way to go. So thank you. I'm telling you, I'm excited. I don't know where I got this burst of energy from for these last couple of weeks, but I'm ready to go. And I will see you at the finish line. We're going to be victorious. We're going to take these seats. This is the first step, and then we're going to come back even stronger in the fall. So thank you so much, everyone. I truly appreciate everything that you've done and will do going forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Judge Dumas.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge Dumas.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'm going to Zoom off, guys. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm not going to watch the DA's thingy. I'm going to another meeting. So,
I know who I'm voting for.
okay. Good night.
Good night. And for Common Pleas Court, we have Wendy Barish here.
Hi, friends. Thank you so much for your endorsement. I definitely would appreciate all the help I can get. I know that some of you are already helping me, but if you can promote me on social media, I'm looking for people who are doing phone banking. And if you have any time on election day to hand out any literature at the polls, if you feel comfortable doing that, that would be great. But if we can just keep spreading the word, this is the first time I'm dealing with a month-long election. I've never been through this before. I know that our state rep has, but it's a little bit different because election night is now a month long. So it's just a new animal. But I would appreciate all of the help. If you have any time to spare, I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you for all the help that many of you on here have already given me, because I wouldn't be on here without you. So thank you.
Awesome. And then we have your
My website.
Yeah, Wendy Barish for judge.com.
Yes.
And Chris Hall was on earlier and had to jump to another call, but I think he'll come back. So we'll let him jump in whenever he returns.
Awesome.
I'm gonna hang out because my next meeting is not till 7:45. My next Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a quorum, right? Tarek, yes. Okay. Don't you think we should? This is a question that we discussed on steering. A suggestion made to me by Kathy Black. Philly for Change, as far as I know, has never actually taken a position, an official endorsed position on ballot questions. But I was thinking, and I think Representative Isaacson will agree with me, that maybe we should officially take a no position on the first 2 questions. Do folks agree with me on that?
Wholeheartedly agree.
Because
I definitely agree.
Okay. Does everyone who was on here more or less agree with that? Well, like I'm shouting into my laptop. But does that sound right? Mary, you want to quickly
Yeah,
remind?
listen, I jumped on. I literally just left a ATV meeting so that I can come here. I'm not running off to district attorney's thing. I wanted to make sure that that not only did we make sure we're pushing our judges and trying to get out the vote, but we have to try and defeat the top 2 ballot questions. And as I'm sure you guys have seen, there is a massive push on the other side. You've seen the billboards all over the state. They're pushing yes. And I'm very apprehensive. I'm not feeling very confident we're going to be able to defeat them if we're not able to get out the vote and the word on it. In which case, we have potential disaster should we ever come into another pandemic situation. So if you guys are willing to endorse it and push it out, I think it's a great idea. So that's why I wanted to come and say hi and push those, and of course push Wendy and Maria and Lori and everybody else on the ballot.
Yes.
Those ballot questions are just as important, and everybody can vote on them. It's not a party vote. That's really one of the things. I know this organization predominantly reaches out to one party, but those, your independent friends, your Republican friends, your Libertarian, your Green Party, everybody can vote on the ballot questions.
Yeah. And I've already gotten my family in the burbs who already got their ballots, by the way, and have mailed them in already to vote no. But I think we will make it official today if no one opposes it, that we will officially make the no vote on the first 2 questions part of our endorsements.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mary.
Sure. You know me, need the ballot questions.
Yeah, ballot questions. But these
So-
But Wendy and our courts are just as important.
yeah.
And Maria, I mean, I'm planning on going on the road wherever she needs me. I do really great at a county fair.
I'll bet you do well at the county fair.
If there's a giant butter gritty, I'm in.
So, all right, but on that, if you don't need my vote for anything else right now.
That's it.
Thank you, Mary.
All right, bye guys.
Stan, you have been urging people to vote against. Good, thank you.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal, and again, people, especially in the city, automatically vote yes on questions because we're usually just trying to get some basic services or something. But in this case, it's
I think, yeah, more important is the 3rd question, which I hope people vote yes for.
yeah.
Yeah. That third question is an interesting one. I agree that we should vote yes on it, but I've heard some people argue that it doesn't go far enough and protect enough groups of people. But I think that it's a starting point.
Yeah, and I'm curious how there was a recent Supreme Court decision that speaks to that question. But I figure it can't hurt to vote yes anyway, even though I have a feeling the Supreme Court's decision trumps it anyway.
I think that I agree. I think that it's kind of a moot point because those groups are already protected by the federal law.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, I see that Judge Lane has joined us. Oh, wait, yes, there she is.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I just stopped by just to say thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you and all the hard work you have done over the years, advancing democratic principles and candidates. And you really are the boots on the ground, and you generate that excitement that bring people to the polls, you know, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. I know you guys have a lot to talk about tonight, but it was really important to me to come and say thank you.
Well, great. Judge Lane, is there anything that we can do to help support you? Do you need volunteers? Do you need sharing your social media? How can
yes,
we?
Yes. I need all of that. Please. Yes. So I will put some contact info in the chat, but I definitely need everyone to keep sharing social media so that can expand the reach and people know. For some reason, when I'm door knocking, people still don't even know it's an election on May 18th. So it's a little frightening. So if we can keep getting that word out and the people share it, whoever you share it with, they share it with their networks, that would be huge. And volunteers, yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for stopping by.
Awesome. And as we are joined by more of our endorsees, we can pause and share their and get their info. There we go. We have we have a little bit of an agenda. Should we take a pause here? Well,
Greg has come on. Here's Greg.
Oh, yeah, Greg just joined. Maybe he wants to let us know how we can help him.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. This has been a crazy journey.
No, it's quite all right. It's very informal tonight.
Oh, good. I like informal because my last 2 Zooms before, I was really sweating for some reason, which I don't think y'all need to know all of that, but I provided it. What do I need? I need, well, I can't say, I actually need a drink, to be quite frank with you.
I wish we were at Tattooed Mom so we could get you one.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Hopefully soon.
I don't know. I just jumped in, so I'm kind of like behind. I don't know what's going on, but I do think this. I thank you for your support. It is needed. As Wendy, I saw Wendy on here. She knows. We spoke the other day. This is a crazy journey, but it's worth it. I think in my situation, I don't often talk about this, but I don't take it lightly that I would be the first openly gay man on municipal court. I think representation is, hi, Crystal. I think representation is so important. I know some people downplay that. I don't use that, but I think it's important for people to see diversity. You know, I created my family through the courts, and we emphasize diversity within our families, which I think is really, really important. I think being a municipal court judge is very important because it's the people's court. And oftentimes they don't have representation from counsel. So it's important that judges are empathetic and willing to listen. And I think it's an important position for me personally. And I'm proud to run as a municipal court judge. And thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
And how can folks help you?
Folks can help me by getting my name out there. Yorgi Gertie is the last name. I'm ballot number 28. I'm fourth if you're on the mail-in ballot. It's easy. It's only 4 candidates. You can pick 3 spots. Just get my name out there. That's important. Drag people to the polling places. I'm going to be running around the whole city. I got to find a driver first because I'm a horrible driver, but I'll be around. And just by your support and endorsement in and of itself helps me out a lot. So I really appreciate that. I'll stick my website in the chat in a few minutes, but thank you again. That's how I can get the support.
Awesome. Stick your website in there, and I can share that on Phillies for Change email too.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Sure. Thank you.
And I'm posting all of the comments on our Facebook Live also, so people will see it there.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, thank you, Beth.
Mm-hmm. So sorry if I'm not talking because I can't type and talk at the same time.
He's here. Betsy Wall just got on.
Oh yeah, Betsy Wall.
Oh, great.
Hi, I'm bouncing back and forth trying to make sure I don't miss my turn on another meeting. Sorry.
Congratulations. Do you want to say a few words to the folks?
I just want to thank you so much for your endorsement. I truly appreciate it. It's really been like an honor. We're coming down to the wire. I mean, I don't know what to say other than we're all a little nervous, and we really appreciate anything you guys can do. Tell your friends, tell your family. I don't know. Do you want? Do you have any other anything else?
Why don't you put your website in chat?
Okay.
I can share that, and if there's any particular thing any ask that you have for you need volunteers or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will put it in the chat, and then I'm kind of like this next person coming up in another meeting. So again, thank you all, and I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Betsy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
There must be a lot of events tonight.
Yeah, I'm like surprised that anybody else has an event, given the for those who are here.
I thought we were the only ones up against the DA debate.
Here's the LGBT Bar Association. It just ended their event.
And also the River Awards are having something, just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's why we're running around. But thanks again.
Oh, thank you.
No, do what you've got to do.
And they gave us like very specific times, like 6:46 was my last one, but it's not actually 6:46. And then the next one's like 7:45, but they said it's okay if you're late. Because we're all like, can give each other speeches at this point, and it's just kind of going through the motions, and then you know, it's just so weird that in this last, stretch, it's not, over.
Right.
But next week, there's a few things on the calendar, and that's it. So it's really, every day you think it's winding down, but then the day before someone will invite you. But it was nice at the LGBT bar. They got together with the open wards, and they had a forum this evening and had all the candidates. And then the River wards just invited some of us to their meetup tonight.
What qualifies as the River Wards now?
So it's the 5th, the 8th, I'm sorry, the 5th, the 18th, and maybe the 30th is in there, which throws me.
It's the ones it's supposedly the ones along the eastern part of the city along the river.
Yeah,
right.
But it's
a little
like
it seems to be some, yeah, there's
liberties.
Oh yeah, but so north of, I guess, largely on the Delaware River, north of South Philly.
Right, but it's not all of them. Because I don't think like Holmesburg, I don't think counts. I might be wrong, but
It's interesting. It seems like there's groups. Oh, here we go. It's the 18th, the 31st, the 25th, and the 5th.
Yeah, that is going along the river north.
I didn't know that the 5th counted as a river ward.
It's
I always
listed-
thought it should, but I thought it didn't.
Yeah. It's interesting. It seems like there's in some of the wards, there's rifts between committee people and they can't reach an agreement. So like we see in the 22nd, there's now like the open 22nd ward caucus, which does have a lot of committee people, and the river wards are splits of some of the people that are committee people form that organization. So that seems to be what's happening, is that when there's, but I don't know anyone, I mean, I'm in the 5th. I don't know anyone in the 5th who's active in that organization. But there might be, there's like some crossover. But I did notice, I mean, I've been doing this for so long now, I don't remember that in the beginning, but I notice now, that's what's happening, is that when there are people in the wards who don't feel like they're getting enough from their ward leader, or it's going in an open direction, they're forming these other groups now.
I thought of the River Wards group as just sort of like a super group of, I mean, it's several wards, right? It's
right.
It is, but it's mostly people from the 18th and I think the 3rd, like there's not a lot from the 5th.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. We saw our friend here who's on, our famous nurse who is giving out
I
vaccines.
know, Tarek, you've been in all
Amazing.
the news sites.
Hey.
Are you making Angel vaccine deliveries right now? Is that what
Yeah. It's like there was actually an accident on Gerard and Lancaster, and it was the T-bone, and so I was just helping out there.
Is everyone okay?
Everyone's okay. Yeah. 911. I was calling 911. Was just ringing and ringing and ringing for like through 2 or 3 minutes. It was the longest I'd ever waited on 911 before.
Wow.
But everyone is okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I was delivering doses. My day's done. I'm heading home.
And you chose to join us. I really feel very honored.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anything exciting from the front lines?
Let me think.
Not to put you on the spot.
Oh no, it's okay. I mean, definitely there's more providers. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can mention, but there's a major home care agency that Anna Pern and I are working with to make sure that we're getting the Angel dose. Actually, not Angel dose, just getting vaccinations out to people who are homebound, because unfortunately, people with disabilities, they're constantly overlooked. Like when there are services, when we're looking at equitable access to healthcare, including vaccinations, this group is overlooked. And they had a plan to get people who are in nursing homes vaccinated, but people that are home that live with, that have a disability, whether they're an older adult, they have physical disability, or where they have intellectual disability, there was no plan to get these folks vaccinated. And so we've been doing this, Anna and I have been doing this since February, since we got our hands on the vaccinations, and now other agencies are doing it. But unfortunately, there's still no central agency. The public health department is not doing this. The state of Pennsylvania is not doing this, where you can call a number and say, I'm homebound, I need a vaccination. This is not happening. And it's basically me and Anna and a few other groups that are doing it, but it's very, very few and far between. So it's getting a little better, but it's still not good. It's still discriminatory for people that have disabilities. So then that bothers me as an activist.
Is there something that we can do to help support the work that you're doing? Are there phone calls we can make, or donations we can make, or?
Thank you. I think I think one thing that would be helpful, it's sort of like this is emblematic of larger systemic problems, and I think because as a progressive group, I think the disability rights is so much a part of the progressive movement that I think that just looking at ways to advocate for people with disabilities, I think is so much aligned with, because here's a group that has been so much forgotten about because for no fault of their own. It's just, you know, their health issues. And so I think just embracing it, the disability rights, because it really is part of the progressive movement. It's not always an issue that kind of bubbles up, but it's what it is it's discrimination. It's illegal because counties like Philadelphia have to provide equitable access regardless of a person's ability. And to say that we have a walk-up clinic, we have vaccines available for people to walk up. If you can't walk up, that's not equitable. And so we have to, I think, really put pressure on the city and the state, whatever it is, whether it's COVID vaccine, that would be helpful to have like a centralized thing where people can call 311 and say, I need a COVID shot. Can someone come out? And they'll say, yeah, that would be helpful because that doesn't currently exist. And also there's no plan to like get to people who are in their home that maybe are sort of like a lot of Americans that are like, they're not really sure if they want the vaccine and they need it, maybe have a conversation. There's no outreach. Matt Goldfein and I are working with a major group, a major health system to actually implement that. It's actually happening now, but it's like one health system in Philadelphia. As we know, and anyone running for a citywide office can tell you, it's a large city and there's a lot. So the more health systems that jump in, the better, that are helping with these home vaccinations. But I think we really need a plan for our city to identify these people who are homebound and also to have a sign-up process and then have a system that these different health systems are able to pull those names off that list. That doesn't exist now. It's me and Anna Pern, and basically that's what's happening right now. So, and also there's other organizations like Black Doctors who are doing amazing work, but this isn't like centralized. This is just us doing our part, and should not happen in something this important.
So this is completely out of the blue, but I do have some computer skills, and I would really like to offer them to help you build a centralized database or something, if that would be helpful to you. We should talk about that separately. Maybe.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, and I think the last point is like, you know, as citizens, we really should expect more from our government when, you know, people, and this is something that these self-advocates have been asking for from the start and saying, I don't know. I can tell you because I've done over 200. I've gone into over 200 different homes with these vaccines, and I can tell you, people that they're saying, you know, they went everywhere. Things are getting a little bit better now, I think, but it's still a problem where it's sort of like different organizations are stepping up, but it should really be from the city that's directing it, or the state of Pennsylvania should be directing it.
Oh, I totally agree. I totally agree that it should come from there. But if it's not, and it would be helpful to have a citizen-based something.
Thank you.
I would love to help.
Yeah. Thanks, Beth. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just, you know, when we are in contact with folks in the mayor's office, when we're in contact with city council people, and we're always in contact with city council people, just talking about the need for a centralized plan to vaccinate the homebound, and that the city needs to have a centralized plan to vaccinate the homebound, whether it be via 311 calls or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that seems like a good.
And we know that there are groups in the city that are going to facilities to give vaccinations. I mean, they come to apartment buildings, they come to nursing homes, they come to all those kinds of facilities. There's no reason why they couldn't also be hired to come to, the city could hire them to go to individuals as well. I don't see why not. I think that would make sense. But they have the capability to do it.
Yeah.
Yes. they do. And also, you know, big cities like New York, I mean, we should not ride second to any other city. Cities like New York figured this out months ago, and they've teamed up. I think I heard from Anna that they actually are working with Salesforce to sort of have a system, and then like they have a plan and to actually get these people, individuals signed up and also vaccinated. It doesn't happen here, and it's like, I mean, you know, it's, I don't know. I just think it's emblematic of deeper problems that, but the fact that people with disabilities are once again kind of feeling like they're taking a back seat to everyone else. The other thing I say it's very heartbreaking is when I'm hearing from people that, you know, they're watching on TV, like all these other people get vaccinated, and they're thinking that it's just not in the cards for them for it to happen. It's absolutely heartbreaking. So, you know, people shouldn't feel like that. They should expect more from their government. So.
Yeah, they should.
Yes. Is there a person on city council who is usually someone who advocates for the rights of the folks with disabilities?
I can tell you that, you know, some of the city council who've really stepped up have been Bobby Heenan, Mark Squilla. They've really stepped up, and in fact, and then in our state legislator, Nikhil Sabal and Elizabeth Fiedler, who've actually canvassed. I think working with Reclaim, or maybe it was Reclaim, but there's like really good contact. They actually canvassed their district, went door to door to identify people that were homebound. I mean, that should be what every elected official, that should be what the city, you know, should have been coordinating. But I can tell you in city council, we've definitely, you know, Bobby Heenan has had this on his radar, and also Squilla has been really great. Also, Derek Green, whose son does have autism. Anna and I, we worked with him because there was a policy that I'm not going to get into right now, but I had to fight for a week to change a health department policy that was absolutely ridiculous and headbanging. It's just awful. Mark Squilla and Derek Green helped Anna and I get that policy changed regarding vaccine access. So, yeah.
Hi, Tariq. I actually am working on behalf of Deja Alvarez. She's actually going to run for Brian Simpson's seat. So she actually coordinated a bunch of vaccine clinics in her area, and she did a bunch of, you know, food distribution out stuff during the pandemic. So I just texted her, and she's going to work with you guys. I know Matt and Anna pretty well. So we will hopefully hear from you soon, and we'll try and set up some either door to door or something for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay?
And Jamie Galthier from District 3 and Rick Krajewski are canvassing for vaccines too, because I was one of the canvassers on the weekend.
Awesome.
Good.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think that's what has to happen. I mean, I honestly feel like a door-to-door approach is right because, you know, as people, you know, when politicians run for elected office, they go door to door. The only time that it shouldn't be the only time that this is happening is during a campaign. It should be actually when we're in times of crisis and we need to reach out. I mean, it should happen other times too, not just in times of crisis, but where you actually are going to people's houses and checking in on them. So, and I think this is one of those times. So I think that's wonderful that those efforts are happening. So thank you. Thanks for working on them.
Great.
Well, Tarek, thank you for the work that you're doing and the work that Anna's doing. It's so important, and thanks for bringing awareness to it. I think we all have some phone calls to make and some demands to make of our electeds on this particular topic, among others.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the platform. Thank you to both of you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, you know, there's probably a way to also get a message to the mayor's office as well, and you know, maybe working with city council people if they would be interested in making a more centralized plan.
Yeah, yeah, because what we're doing, Anna and I are doing, is really like, I mean, it's so helpful. Again, we've vaccinated over, I think in terms of shots, it's probably like 240 homebound vaccines, or people like caregivers or with these angel doses, which is wonderful. But again, if the city identifies that there's over 7,500 homebound individuals, probably most of them have not gotten the vaccine because they can't get out of their house, and there's not a lot of places doing it. What is the plan? It's one thing to say, well, people can just do this, they can do that, or other places can step up. But the question is, what are you doing to actually make this happen? And I haven't heard a lot of concrete answers for it. So again, I think that's what, as advocates, that's something that we can do, and we can, you know, let them know this is. They're not hearing it. This is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people want to run for mayors in the future.
Now would be a great time for them to demonstrate some leadership.
Exactly. Sometimes it's a carrot and sometimes it's a stick. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We have any more of our?
I haven't seen any others, any of our other candidates come on.
All right. Shall we move on to our discussions? It had been brought up that, you know, we haven't sort of revisited any of the national issues. Like Philly for Change, you know, Philly for Change. I'll do my little historical thing. Philly for Change actually was started as a group that was trying to get Howard Dean elected in 2004. Philly for Change grew out of Philly for Dean. And so we have traditionally worked on issues at the national level. And since the election of President Biden, we haven't really picked up on that so much, since there have been other things going on. But it was brought to our attention that we could talk about some of these large changes that have been proposed by President Biden and Democrats in Congress. And so we were where we would like to sort of discuss some of those changes, including the two of President Biden's biggest plans, which is the American Jobs Plan and the American Families Plan. I feel like we could maybe do, I don't know. Do you have a feeling whether we should go through it with American Families or American Jobs first?
I think jobs first, because families builds on it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are, Beth and I have both sort of separated. I'm going to do the American Jobs Plan. She's going to do the American Families Plan. And the way I wanted to do this is to simply lay out there what the plan is, and then open it up for discussion, and then we'll move on to the American Families Plan. So the American Jobs Plan, as proposed by the Biden administration. This is his big infrastructure bill. And I just want to start out by saying the big infrastructure bill is something that Democrats and even sometimes Republicans have talked about as something they were going to do for a really long time. And this goes way back. This precedes even the modern breakdown of how the parties work. If you go back to 1982, when Democrats were trying to put together plans after Ronald Reagan was elected, the first thing they talk about, if you look at it historically, was having a big infrastructure bill. A big infrastructure bill is something that that was discussed and done to a certain extent in the 60s. The biggest infrastructure bill that people reference is the Eisenhower administrations in the 1950s building of the interstate highway system. If you're not familiar, the interstate highways didn't exist before the 1950s, and Dwight Eisenhower went ahead and built them. It was a large project, and he started building them. It went on for 20 years. So that is the kind of bill that the American Jobs Plan is. It is a big $2 trillion bill to do 5 different things. There are 5 areas in the plan. The first one is to fix highways.
Sorry, before you jump into those 5 areas, I see that Chris Hall has joined us, so maybe
Awesome.
we want to give him a chance to.
The highways can wait. Let's go for Chris Hall, and then we'll continue our discussion.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, you sound great.
Well, listen, I actually am fascinated by that, by President's infrastructure plan, mostly because of its focus on environmental justice. So there are kind of built into, via his executive order from earlier in the year, there are built-in requirements for every agency that receives these funds to allocate those funds in a way that advances environmental justice and to track the progress on that. So frankly, Sam, I think it's, what you're talking about is really important. The Clinton administration, advanced the concept of environmental justice 20 years ago, but there was no teeth. And listen, I thought the Clinton administration did wonders in a lot of different areas, but this was one of their initiatives that fell by the wayside. In contrast, here we have teeth, and I'm really hopeful. And then I believe it was April 30th, the EPA administrator sent out a policy memorandum to everyone within the EPA, kind of outlining 5 steps that the EPA is going to undertake to advance environmental justice. And so what that means is that underserved communities, there is going to be a greater focus on enforcement and restoration of the environmental pollution as it impacts our underserved communities. So Sam, you're on target. This matters. And there's a nice, interplay with the courts. And so I don't want to take too much time. I frankly would love to hear any questions that anyone here has. But there is a role here for the courts. Imagine waking up on a Sunday morning and your house is shaking. And you look out the window and there's a caravan of dump trucks ambling down your front street, turning the corner and coming up the back alley and dumping their loads on the slope behind your house. That happened. It was in Southwest Philadelphia. It was asbestos contaminated debris from the Grant Paper Company over on Delaware Avenue. And it was a non-union contractor trying to get away with it on a Sunday morning. I prosecuted that contractor. He went to jail. But that, putting somebody like that in jail doesn't restore the neighborhood. So I traced the corporation through its structure, and there were several subsidiaries, to a parent company in London, and prosecuted that company. And it paid $1 million to clean up that site. And then the heavy machinery from those dump trucks had cracked the foundations of every home in that block. And they paid $25,000 to each homeowner to repair their foundations. So that's what environmental justice can look like. That's what restorative justice can look like. That's what animates me. That's what animates me to serve on the bench. And so with your help, this is a wonderful organization that you've created, Beth and Beth's friends. And that's what I stand for. I'm the, I think many of you know me, so I don't want to repeat myself, but Yeah, I'm highly recommended by the bar. I'm endorsed by the party, but that's not enough. It's people like you and organizations like you that can help me get across the goal line. So I'm number 22, and I love your support. I think you may have already endorsed me. Thank you. But if Sam's discussion of the infrastructure bill and how it relates to environmental justice motivates you in any way, please know that I'm an ally on that front, and I have been my whole life. Do you have any questions for me, Beth, or anyone?
Well, so Chris, we have endorsed you, so.
I do know that. I didn't want to.
Yeah, but so yeah, I think what we really want to know is how can we support you? What do you need from us? Is it volunteers? Is it sharing your social media? Is it how can we support you?
Well, both those things would be phenomenal. And so let's talk kind of tactics. How can I help you kind of help to raise my profile through your social media? How can we do that? Should I like you on Facebook? Do we?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want to put your website in the chat or links to whatever you want us to share, we can do that.
We'll share that. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. I'll do that. And then what are your plans for May 18th in terms of your street presence?
We are still getting that together.
Yeah, well, now, I mean, so am I. So no need to apologize there, but I'm trying to gather as many volunteers as I can. We have extra signs. We have palm cards. We could deliver those to a location that you designate for your volunteers.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think we can, it might be easier. Can we send people to your website to request those things?
Yes, and we will have a Google Doc as well. So I'm going to put my information in the chat. Is that
perfect?
Okay. Well, what a generous offer that is, Beth. So and Sam. So thank you very much.
Our pleasure.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. I'm going to pick up then on we were discussing the infrastructure bill, and let me get my notes out here. Yeah, so there are 5 areas that are covered in the infrastructure bill. Chris just mentioned one of them, which is sort of a broad environmental aspect, which includes ensuring safe drinking water, renewing the electrical grid. That's one aspect. And again, it's called the American Jobs Plan. They do think that this aspect, just working on transmission lines, could create hundreds of thousands of jobs. And of course, the aspect of revitalizing the economy after all of the losses that have occurred because of the coronavirus is a big aspect of this. That's one of the 5 areas. Fixing the highways and rebuilding bridges, upgrading ports, airports, and transit systems. That is working on 20,000 highways, 10 of the most economically significant bridges in the country, and 10,000 smaller bridges. Well, get to that. So that's a large chunk. It's also touching on the environmental aspect of it, building and preserving and retrofitting homes, commercial buildings, modernizing schools and childcare facilities, and upgrading veterans hospitals and federal buildings. another huge aspect. Creating an infrastructure for the care economy is another huge aspect of it, and revitalizing supply chains and investing in R&D. All these are the 5 areas that the jobs plan touches on. And folded into this is the Made in America tax plan, which is a plan to modernize and collect taxes on large corporations. Questions about the large areas of the American Jobs Plan? This is a big deal. This is sort of taking the first steps towards building. This is the aspect of building a new and greener economy. And I think it's something that there was a consensus coming out of the Democratic presidential primaries that these were the areas that Democratic voters care about. This is the vision that has been talked about for a long time. Again, the Obama and Clinton administrations both made gestures and took steps towards some of these plans, but the notion of funding this kind of changed infrastructure is something that has yet to be accomplished. The plan itself says that this is the largest investment in America since the building of the interstate highway system and the space race.
I think the thing that I find interesting, not only about this plan, but all of the plans that he introduced at the State of the Union in general, is how broad and sweeping they really are, and how much I think they were influenced by the more progressive candidates who were in the primary with him.
Yes.
I'm really pleased by that. I think it's no mystery that I was a Warren supporter in the primary. And so to see a lot of the things that she was pushing for, I see them in these plans, and I am really happy about that. And I think it says a lot about the direction of the party and the direction of the country and what we really are ready for.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. But I also want to make sure the folks know I give Biden credit for. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, he for doing this as well. And I am not somebody who has thrown everything. It was thrown only bouquets at Joe Biden. But he ended up running on something like this because this is sort of where the entirety, the breadth of the campaign took him. And again, it's something we've been talking about for a long time, but you still see, in my opinion, in media, people shocked that he's proposing these things, despite the fact that he basically ran on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I don't, as far as I know, I don't think we really have to push any of our local congresspeople or senators on this. I did notice that it seemed like the senator, obviously we don't have Senator Toomey's support. As far as I know, there are no Republicans who have signed on in either the House or Senate, but that we do have our Democratic senator and local congresspeople.
But yeah, I heard it might be suitable for budget reconciliation on the Senate, so not require a 2/3 vote.
Right, right. And, you know, by the way, hat tip to Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders supporters too, because he will be leading that effort.
So I'm just wondering when.
Yeah.
I mean, the budget stuff comes up soon, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, should we discuss the American Families Plan? Because they have the interesting thing about this is, and we can discuss the political strategy afterward, but he's rolling lots of stuff together. And I'll just throw out this little bit of history. When things like this get passed, they're steamrolled, meaning that you ask for a lot of stuff, and you don't give the opposition time to focus on small aspects. You throw a lot of stuff at them, and that's when historically large programs have been passed. So again, the American Jobs Plan is being sold at the same time as the American Families Plan. You want to discuss the American Families Plan?
Yeah. So, okay. So the American Families Plan builds on the American Jobs Plan, and it also builds on the American Rescue Plan, which was what was signed into law in March, which gave everybody the $1,400 check, and started to reopen schools, and made Americans ages 16 and older eligible for the vaccine, and things like that. So so it builds on those things, which is important, but I think it goes much further than that. You know, he's using that campaign rhetoric of build back better. It's not enough to return to where we were before the pandemic. He wants to build back better of where we were, and he knows that families are the backbone of America, and he wants to make our families strong again. So the foundation of the American Families Plan is to make investments in our families and in our children. It adds at least 4 years additional of free education, 2 in early childhood and 2 in college. So 2 at the beginning, 2 at the end. So it would make early childhood quality universal preschool for all 3 and 4-year-olds available free of charge. And it would make 2 years of community college available to every single person post high school, and for free. It will also provide direct support to children and families through, sorry, I'm reading my notes here. So there's paid family leave in it. There's a enhanced medical leave program to try and bring our country in line with other nations that have much better systems than we do in those areas. It makes enhancements to our health system and our healthcare system that go a lot further than the Affordable Care Act does right now. There's nutrition assistance programs in there for families who need it most. It expands access for healthy meals and free lunches to students and children who are suffering from childhood hunger. And it extends tax cuts for families with children and American workers. And it tax cuts that are helping people now, and they will continue to help them.
They're huge tax cuts too.
Yeah, they're huge tax cuts.
Yes.
And they're for lower and middle income families, not very wealthy people. And it extends the earned income tax credit and the child and dependent care tax credit, and the child tax credit. So these are all things that will help working families and lower and middle income families have more money in their pockets. It also expands health insurance tax credits that were started in the American Rescue Plan, and there's some premium relief around health insurance to help lower health insurance costs. It's an average of $50 per person per month for 9 million people, so that will add up significantly. And an additional 4 million uninsured people will be able to get coverage under this plan.
Great.
So, go ahead, Sid. Oh, I thought you were going to say
Oh,
something.
no.
Oh, yeah. And you know, one of the things I like about it is that it really recognizes that the COVID pandemic especially has impacted women and mothers more than it has other groups of people, because a lot of women have had to leave the workforce to take care of their kids who are now at home because they aren't in school, or to serve that function of teacher while their kids are learning from home. And you know, they are saying that women are going to have been set back 20 or 30 years in their careers because of this 1 year of the pandemic. And so he's trying to address that, I think, with this plan. And I, as a woman, I really appreciate that. So overall, it's a $1.8 trillion investment in American families and children over the next 10 years. So it's really significant.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the thing that I love about this is just focusing on making it possible for people who have families and to work. There are basic aspects of American life that have never made sense. The part of American life has been set up for families that have a person at home and not taking care of children, and for too long parents have had to scramble to get to work while they have children, and this plan aims to remedy that. And you know, this is the way that the rest of the world works. They make sure that you have enough money to take care of kids and to get kids the child care that you need while you're working. This goes a long way towards that, and obviously for making sure that, you know, first of all, child hunger is taken care of, that a first world country doesn't allow that. This takes it on head on. These are ways that the plan will actually, you know, change people's lives, and it really just seems to be a focus on changing people's lives. And I hope we pass it and that we take credit for it as well, because I think it will change people's lives.
Yeah.
And you know, we should listen to our to the folks who are working on getting this passed, to see if there's anything, you know, phone calls. I know we do have members who make phone calls into other states and do letter writing campaigns. And you know, as somebody who has long thought that you know, sort of reinvesting in the country is the key to making things better, I also think that there is a political aspect to this, which I don't think it's cynical to say, you know, if you give voters things to thank you for things that they need. First of all, the Democrats will almost never have to worry about the Republicans giving voters more things that people need. You know, if you look historically at how Democrats held Congress from 1932 to 1994, you know, it was working like this. It was assessing what needed to be done and doing it, because you know, frankly, the other side's never going to get around to that. So I think this is very good. I hope we can you know, we can get this done.
Yeah, I do too. And I think this is the kind of thing where, and I know Sam said it, and it's true, our specific Congress people are probably are already on board with this. But I do think this is the kind of thing where direct calls and lobbying of our Congresspeople is important. And even if we don't think Senator Toomey is going to support it, I do think we should still call and tell him what we think and what we want. I think it's still important because, you know, if we don't tell him, he can claim he didn't know.
Never let him off the hook.
Right.
Not until he is out of office should we ever let him off the hook.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, until January, whatever, 2022, 2023, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast enough.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 1.5 more years.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, you know, because I think we've already got a couple of good candidates in there, but I'm looking forward to dealing with that race.
I think that's going to be a very crowded race.
It appears to be, for sure. You know, and we should mention a longtime Philly for Change member is already in that race.
Yeah,
Malcolm Kenyatta is running for.
Yep.
It's interesting that the Republicans don't seem to have a buzz about it, at least not that I've heard.
Yeah, I think I've read something about a Trump endorsed, or, you know, from the Trump camp candidate who's looking to get in.
Yeah, Barletta, I think.
Oh, not that idiot again.
Oh, he ran to. Did he run for governor or Senate? I can't remember, but he ran before.
Oh, I forget.
Yeah, I think
he's the epitome of stupid.
I know.
And then not just stupid. I mean, he's evil. He is truly a racist, horrible person.
He is. He's awful.
And yes, well, I think there was a new Trump person. Although I was pleased to see that it looks like there was talk briefly that Don Jr. was thinking about trying to run.
So, okay, I have to tell you all, speaking of Don Jr. So I'm visiting my mother-in-law in Florida right now, and she lives in Jupiter, near West Palm, and Don Jr. just bought a house down here, right, very in the development where she is. And so we were like driving by, and I was like, man, I wish I had some eggs to throw at his house.
Yeah.
The rumor is he hasn't actually been there yet, like he hasn't moved in, but man, I wish I had some eggs or something to throw.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if my nephew's not on here now. Yeah, we have a relative who lived for a long time in Jupiter, and yeah, I don't think he's buying her old place. She has money, but she's not that.
No, I think it's a very expensive house. It's yeah, I mean, like, yeah, where I am, it's not, but yes, where that house is. Anyway.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us from Florida, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy to. You know, look, in the pandemic, everywhere is the same. So.
Right. Yeah, my mother will reach peak immunity in 2 weeks. So then we're gonna go see my mother in the burbs.
I'll tell you, it's very different down here, and they, you know, the governor just lifted the mask order, and I'm not happy about it.
I'm following several politicians in Florida who are considering running against him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, he seems, yeah, going up in popularity. Anyway, well, yeah. We should make sure that all of our folks in the suburbs are signed on soon to make sure they're also supporting it. It just occurred to me that there was one of the reps in the sub, two actually, who had some qualms about some aspect of the American Families Plan. So, you know,
Oh, yeah, we should look into that then. I agree.
because I'm not 100% sure, and it was just the article that I read was concerns about these two. I don't want to say who they are until I know for sure, because I don't want to make people angry. But we should nail down all of the locals before we worry about other folks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But again, Evans and Boyle seem to be on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the future, I also would like to cover. I think it's critical that we cover voting rights in the future. You know, this is a huge area, and that's more complicated. As complicated as these two bills are, voting rights is even more complicated because progressive efforts, because of the evil bills that have passed in some states. Work is being done at both the national and the state level, but we should talk about and the Biden's voting rights plan.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk about the PRO Act regarding labor unions
Yes.
well in the future.
I think voting rights will be a good one for next month, Sam, because Kadita Kenner is going to join us next month to talk about the New Pennsylvania Project, which is her new organization that their mission is about voting rights and registering voters and getting and transforming the Pennsylvania electorate the way that Stacey Abrams did in Georgia. So I'm excited to have that organization here in Pennsylvania.
Yes, absolutely. And then who better than Kadita Kenner? Right?
To have her at the helm of it is amazing.
Yes. Folks who don't know Kadita Kenner, she has been a guest at Philly for Change meetups in the past, long time organizer on our courts and just a real dynamo and someone who knows her stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions regarding either of Biden's plans or things that we can do regarding the American Jobs Plan and the American Families?
Yeah, I think we need to just hold tight until it hits Congress.
Yeah.
Does it even have a legislation on their in the committee even yet?
I don't know if it's actually been introduced yet. Like, I don't think it has a bill number or anything.
Right.
Yeah, so we need to wait until at least it gets a bill number.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that this is going to be one of those fairly quick. We know how folks are going to. We know ahead of time more or less how folks are leaning on this.
Yeah.
You know, the way putting the weight of the presidency.
Yeah.
Behind it and is critical. I've read on a couple of places that Schumer seems to be clearly on board with pushing it as quickly as possible, and yeah, we have the two or three centrist senators to deal with. Those being Manchin, Sinema, and Tester.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure there'll be a whole slew of amendments and acts and other changes that come and go in it before it comes into focus.
I'll say this, I like the way things went with the rescue plan, because what he did was he said he gave a week or two to say, okay, well, we'll talk about, you know, we'll talk with the other side, see if they have anything. And then at the end, they more or less passed it as was written. There were some minor changes.
Well, and I have to hope that Biden really takes a cue from the Affordable Care Act and even the last legislate with the CARES Act, where they got no Republican buy-in. So just don't try. I mean, for him to seek consensus, let's stop kidding ourselves. Not going to happen. So he shouldn't even waste time doing that.
Yeah, I think on a political level, Biden may think, because again, both of these plans are still quite popular. I didn't look up the polling on the American Families Plan, but I would imagine it's even more probably more popular than the American Jobs Plan. But the American Jobs Plan polls in the 70s
Okay.
approval. And I think one of the keys, possibly at least, media would like us to believe, and maybe it's true, that because Biden asks, for bipartisan support, it may help get centrists and some Republicans, not in Congress, but voters to support it, because the popularity of these programs transcends, anything that we have recently seen in national politics. Getting 70% support on anything is quite unusual, and perhaps merely asking for it. But again, if we follow the trajectory of the rescue plan, asking for it, but if you don't, but if you don't get what you're looking for, just go ahead and pass it along partisan lines.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna sign off, but nice seeing y'all.
Oh, nice seeing you, Stan.
Good to see you too, Stan.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, I think if anybody has anything else to say, we can have announcements and then maybe call it a quick night. Maybe we can even take a peek at the debate if it's still going
Yeah,
on.
if it's still going on. I don't know how long it was supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, you can say it online.
Yeah, I'm sure it's online. I mean, I already know who I'm voting for. So.
Exactly. That's why I thought, well, okay, I guess for curiosity's sake I could watch, but
Right. Yeah.
Well, again, I'll thank everybody. Thanks, Beth, and safe trip back.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm coming home tomorrow night. So.
Okay, well, safe trip back, and thanks everyone for coming out.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.